So rare video games, I feel, are a very interesting topic, especially in retro gaming, because we sort of equate it to an expensive game as being rare. And really, that's a false equivalency, because an expensive game doesn't necessarily mean that it's a rare game. It means it's a desirable game. A game like Earthbound is not rare. No matter what anyone tries to tell you, Earthbound is not a rare game. It sold over 100,000 copies when it came out. So it's not rare, you know, it's just a game that's desirable. A lot of people want to own it. They want to have the big box and the scratch and sniff advertisements. But today I wanted to talk about my rarest game in my collection. And it also happens to be a very expensive game, but that's because it's a rare game. It's not a good game. It's actually a piece of shit, but you know, that's kind of the reason of this second channel. If I get bored, I can just talk about whatever. So you guys know, I'm a huge 32X fan. I wrote a book on it. Buy it on Amazon, please. So it sells something. But I'm a huge fan of the 32X, and I have a complete 32X collection. And that's sort of what inspired me to write the book, because I don't know, I just wanted to write a book on the 32X because, I mean, I had all the games, so why not do that? But my rarest game in my collection is actually a 32X game, and that is The Amazing Spider-Man Web of Fire. Now, this game is an absolute piece of shit. If you've ever played it, you would know that this game sucks. You can see a price tag on here of $300. Now, this is actually the most I've ever spent on a video game, was $300, and I bought this back, I want to say like 4 years ago, when I was going for my complete 32X collection. And so obviously I had to have this game, and this game is rare because of the fact that this was the last North American game released for the 32X. They only produced 1,500 copies of this game. So this is truly a rare game. Now what sucks about it is, I think this game could have been pretty good. Like Spider-Man games nowadays, you know, we all love them. You know, there's Spider-Man, of course, on the PlayStation 4, Miles Morales on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5. Like, those are super good games. But this game, unfortunately, was a product of the 32X. If you know anything about the 32X, you would know that it was probably the most underutilized system in terms of power that, you know, pretty much ever existed, I feel. When you look at what the 32X was truly capable of, like, it was really a good stopgap between the Sega Saturn and the Sega Genesis, because it had so much more power than the Genesis, and it was still cartridge based, so you didn't have to worry about CD loading times. I mean, there are games on the 32X that absolutely push it to its limits. Games like Virtua Fighter, which runs better than the first Virtua Fighter release on the Sega Saturn. Now, Virtua Fighter Remix obviously was a much better game, but I will put up the 32X version of Virtua Fighter against the Saturn version of Virtua Fighter any day of the week, because the 32X version runs better. You had virtual racing. You had the best version, the best co-op conversion of Mortal Kombat 2 on the 32X. And you might be saying, well, the Saturn version's better. It has bigger sprites. And yeah, it has bigger sprites, but it also has load times when you play as Shang Tsung and you change in between characters. You didn't have that on the 32X version of the game. So Spider-Man Web of Fire could have been really something special, because obviously one of the things that the 32X did really well was 2D stuff. I mean, there's gorgeous looking 2D games on there. Games like Knuckles Chaotic, which has huge sprite scaling and a lot of cool effects. Games like Tempo, which looks absolutely fantastic. And Spider-Man Web of Fire should have been a game like that. But instead, it's literally like a Sega Genesis game with like a little bit more parallax scrolling, and like that's pretty much it. And the soundtrack isn't all that good. The audio sounds pretty crappy. I will say the intro is actually really cool, because it's like a 3D Spider-Man thing sort of swooping down. But you know, this is the rarest game in my collection. They only made 1,500 of these. Now, I bought this for $300, as it says on the price sticker. Now this sells for like well over $1,300, and I've thought about getting rid of it. You know, I mean, my book is done. I don't really need a complete 32X collection. I have too much bullshit as it is already, but it's kind of like, you know, I don't need the money right now, so kind of what's the point of selling a game that's obviously very important? And obviously there are a lot of games that I have that I would never sell, games that, you know, people gave to me throughout the years, back when I used to have a PO box. Games like Panzer, you know, that's a Milton game right there. Shout outs to Milton. I hope you're doing well, buddy. So I can never get rid of that. But yeah, The Amazing Spider-Man Web of Fire, it's actually a rare game, because they only made 1,500 copies of it. But unfortunately, all because it's rare doesn't mean it's good. And we need to sort of clarify this whole thing, because I feel like it's something that is just rampant throughout the gaming industry. People assimilate the word rare to a game that's just very expensive. And it's like, no, that's not the case. There's desirable games, and there's games that they actually had a very low print run of. And Spider-Man Web of Fire is one of the lowest print runs of like a game that came out in stores like ever. Like I would love to see a game that only had 1,500 copies sold that was actually sold in stores. So yeah, I don't know what the hell the point of this video was. I was just eating lunch and I was like, I want to talk about this game for some fucking reason. So here we are talking about this game. But that's kind of the point of the second channel. I get a little idea in my head and then I make it. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. What is the rarest game you own? And I don't mean what's the most expensive game you own. What's the actual rarest game you own? Something that not a lot of copies of the game went out. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Like I said, I'm just going to do random shit on here, random live streams and stuff. It's kind of just a channel that, I don't know, if I just feel like talking about something, I'm going to talk about it. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.